Today we're looking at 0.35 acres for sale in Washington County. And in this video, I'm going to cover the top things that will help you determine whether this property will be a good fit for you. And this is based on my experience selling selling 700 parcels of land. So let's get started with location. So this property is, if we zoom out, in the panhandle of Florida. It is between Tallahassee and Pensacola. So we can see that here. And we're about 40 minutes north of Panama City and the Panama City beaches. So as we can see here, we are in the Sunny Hills section of Washington County. This is a more rural subdivision, so you're getting a little more space between neighbors, a little more quiet, a little more out of the way. This is one of those areas where you might say, like, no one's going to yell at you because your dog's barking, right? But we are still close to development and amenities. You can see there's a Dollar General just about 8 minutes away. Restaurants there's a main road here with restaurants and some commercial buildings. And if we go up to Chipley here, which is about 20 minutes away, you'll find, I believe, a hospital and, more amenities, restaurants, markets, things like that. Right, so this lot's a good balance between having access to all the day-to-day stuff you would need to actually live your life, and also having a little more peace and quiet, a little more of that spot where you can kind of do your own thing. So let's take a look at what the property looks like. Right, so here is the drone footage. You can see there are homes that are being built here, but it's still fairly undeveloped. So you have a lot more space between neighbors, much more peace and quiet. Traffic's going to be light here, a lot of greenery, and as I said, a lot of privacy. So this is a good fit for someone looking for a quieter, more peaceful, sort of out of the way, do your own thing kind of location. I will be upfront, though, that this property is not for someone looking for a mobile home lot because, as I'll go over in a little more detail in a bit, this is not a lot where you are allowed to place a mobile home, according to our research. It's also not an RV lot, so you wouldn't be able to come and park your RV here. This would be for someone who's looking for a spot to build a single-family home, or for someone who's just looking for an affordable Florida investment and plans to hold on to the property for some time and either pass it on or hopefully realize some appreciation in a number of years. So that's what it looks like. We have some more photos here. You can see this is an improved road. It does maybe need a little bit of work, but it's in good condition. You can see a car here. Easy to get to the property. You shouldn't have any issues with access. And there are power lines here on the main road. The power might need to be extended about half a block to the property, so that's something to keep in mind. And actually, and then here's the distance to Chipley. I said it's about 25 minutes. Chipley has all the amenities you would need. I'll also note that it is on a cul-de-sac, as we saw from the drone footage, and there are not yet any other homes built on this cul-de-sac. So again, you are getting more of that peace, privacy, quiet seclusion. There is a home down here, though. So as I said, people are building in this area. All right. Now, I did mention power poles. And in terms of what you can do with the property. So that is probably one of the biggest questions that anyone would have before they buy a property. So as I said, RVs, according to our research, are not allowed. Neither are mobile homes. The zoning designation is the Sunny Hills Mixed Use District. Oh, let me pull this up a bit. So I'm pulling up the zoning ordinance here so we can get a basic sense of what the allowable uses are. Here's the zoning district here. A mixed use district is essentially a district that allows both commercial and residential uses. So technically, per the zoning ordinance, you might actually be able to put some commercial uses on this property. I would confirm that with the county, though, so let's take a look at some examples here. So P means permitted, and D means dependent on the surrounding land use. So you would have to call the county to actually confirm that you could use the property this way. But you can see there are commercial uses like adult daycare center and animal kennel, animal rescue, appliance repair. So all these different commercial uses could potentially be permitted. Although I will say, given the size of the parcel and the surrounding location, I'm assuming most people would want to buy this property to build a home. And that, of course, is also allowed, just straight up allowed. So if we go down, where's here, single family residential is permitted, right? So I'm guessing that's going to be the primary use for this property. I'll also note that accessory dwelling units are permitted, again, as long as they're within the context of the surrounding area. So if you are looking for a lot where you can put like a mother-in-law flat type thing, possibly you could do this here. I would confirm with the county, but according to the zoning ordinance, it seems like there's a high likelihood that you could do that. I just bring that up because I have had many buyers mention that that's what they're looking for when they build a home. Right. And quickly, in Washington County, so also according to our research in Washington County, public water should be available, but you would need a septic system. And again, you can confirm that with the county. I do always recommend verifying everything with the county because, of course, they are the ultimate authority on what can be done on a property. Now, earlier I did mention that probably the two primary uses for a lot like this would be eventually building a single family home. Not necessarily right away, because I will say there's no time limit to build. So you could buy this with the plan of building 5-10 years down the line. But the two primary uses I could see that this lot would be good for would be building a single family home or as an investment property. So holding on to this for a number of years, using it as a legacy property, or hoping to see some appreciation after holding it for a number of years. And in terms of investing in this land, the annual taxes are very low. So annual carrying costs are only going to be about $120. So it would be relatively easy to hold on to this property for a while and just have it either waiting until you're ready to build or have it in your portfolio for a number of years. All right, now I also want to call out a few other items that are very important to understand as part of your due diligence. Things like flood zones, because that's very important in Florida, and topography. So let's take a look at some of these items that can really help determine whether this lot will work for you. So I'll start out by saying there's no conservation easement on the property. Good, because that can limit building. And let me turn off these labels. And the lot is pretty flat. You can see from the contour lines here, there is a slight slope down to the south, kind of southeast, but the approximate elevation is 150 feet. And the property is not in a special hazard flood zone, so that's very important. A lot of properties in Florida, of course, are. Not that you can't build on properties that are in special hazard flood zones, but when a property is not in one like this, you don't have to worry about additional flood insurance or requirements to, say, elevate the property. Right, so no special hazard flood zone according to our research. And no wetlands, which is also important because wetlands can make it very, very difficult, if not impossible, to build on the property. And in terms of soils, so I did mention that a septic system would be required. And one thing that we look at when we purchase a property is whether the soil type that you see on the property is also on properties that have been built on. Because if that's the case, there is a good chance that the property would pass a perk test and be able to support a conventional septic system. This, of course, is not a replacement for a perk test, but it's just a good sign that the particular soil type on the property has been proven on other lots. All right, so you can see that the property is covered by this one soil type in green, and the other properties in the area also have the same soil type, and there are a number of homes that have been built on this soil type. So again, good sign that this property would be able to support a conventional septic system. And we can pull up the soil report to get a little more information on that. All right, and just for anyone who is interested, the soil type is coming up as Lakeland sand with a 3S CAP score. So that's a pretty decent CAP score as well. CAP score being a rating of, it's primarily for agriculture, like how suitable the soil is for agriculture, but it also it tends to correspond well with how well the property will support a conventional septic system. And 3 is a pretty good score, according to our research. Okay. Now, I do want to talk a little bit more about the surrounding area for anyone who is looking for a spot to build a home. So I did pull the property, or the zip code, I should say. So this is zip code level, a little bit wider of an area than the exact community where it's in. But it does have a decent average, slightly above average school rating. It has a good rating under good for families, according to niche.com, and a good rating for housing. This is, again, a quieter, sort of more rural area, a little bit less population, so less traffic, less congestion and all of that. And it's also a very affordable area, so both homes and land are going to be affordably priced. So a good spot for anyone who is able to get away from a major city and looking for a more affordable path to home ownership. And in that similar vein, if we look at homes, we're looking at homes specifically within the Sunny Hills area of Washington County. You can see that homes are priced right about average, $180,000 to $230,000. So again, this is a pretty affordable place to buy land and build a home. You can also see these are sold comps. So a number of homes are being sold here. If you did want to build eventually and you're thinking about, what market demand looks like. So a number of homes have been sold here. And this is also showing that there are a number of homes that have been built in this area. So people are able to build. All right. So I think that covers most of the basics. This would bring us to perhaps what you might say is the most important aspect of the property, and that is its price. But before I get into that, I do quickly want to introduce myself so you know who you would be working with. Now, my name's Erica. I am the co-founder of Gokche Capital, and we have a company that sells vacant land. Our mission is to help people across the country become landowners and build their own version of the American dream. And we have helped 700 people buy land at this point. It just recently went to 700, so congratulations. 701 now, to be exact. And I will note that we are not real estate agents. We only sell properties that our company owns. So what that means is you deal directly with the owner. And also, because we own the properties, we are able to offer owner financing on all of our land, including this one. Now, you can find all of our properties at land.gokep.com. We do have a number of other properties in Florida if this particular one doesn't work for you, including some properties that do allow mobile homes. But we also work throughout the entire US. So if you're interested in other states, you can check out some of those other properties as well. But today we're looking at number 843 on our website. It's the property on Jay Court in Washington County. And quick note, this is our internal numbering system, so don't expect to see it on the deed. If you did want to call the county and ask them a few questions, you could give them this number here, the assessor's parcel number. But if you want to find the property on our website, it's number 843. All right. And this property is priced at $13,997 plus the doc fee. Again, we do offer owner financing, but you're not going to see set owner financing terms on our website. And that is because we do like to tailor our owner financing terms to meet the needs of each individual buyer. So if you are interested in owner financing, I do always recommend reaching out to us and letting us know what kind of down payment and monthly payment will work for your budget. That way we can come up with some options that really make the property affordable for you. But I do want to be upfront about two terms. So the first is that the higher the down payment, the lower the interest rate. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your budget. The second thing is we do say there's no building on or living on the property until the end of the loan term. And this is for liability reasons, but you can use the property for recreational purposes and you can make minor improvements as long as you're in compliance with all local rules and regulations. And by minor improvements, I mean generally anything that doesn't require permits, so potentially fencing, grading, clearing, things like that. So if there are a few things that you would like to do to prepare the lot prior to paying it off, just let us know and we'll work with you. The other thing I'll say is there's no prepayment penalty, so you can always pay off the loan early and get started building as well as save on interest. In fact, if you pay off early enough, we'll give you cash back. So if you pay off in 6 months, you'll get 5% cash back on the purchase price. And if you pay off in 12 months, you get 2.5% cash back on the purchase price. Now, another thing I'd like to call out is our 365-day land exchange guarantee. And I mention this because in the past, I have heard from many buyers that one of their biggest concerns, especially first-time land buyers, is not necessarily knowing everything that they need to look into prior to purchasing a property and potentially then buying a property that doesn't actually work for them. So to solve for this, we did create the land exchange guarantee. We think of it kind of like GPS for owner financing. So just like if you take a wrong turn, your GPS will reroute you. If you end up purchasing a property that you find out later doesn't actually work for you, we can reroute you to a different property. The way it works is anytime within the first year of the loan, you can exchange the property for another one in our inventory one time. You do need to pay another dock fee, but once you do that, we will simply move all of the principal payments you've already made over to the new property, and that way you can move forward with a property that really works for you. So if you ever want to exchange the property during that first year of the loan, just reach out to us. The other thing I'd like to call out is that based on feedback from the hundreds of other buyers we've worked with in the past, we did create a landowner success bundle that comes free with every purchase. And this is a set of 9 bonuses designed to help you get the most from your land. And these bonuses include exclusive offers with mobile home manufacturers and dealers, as well as monthly landowner Q&A calls with me. So this means that even once the deed is recorded, you don't necessarily need to be completely on your own. You can always join monthly calls and ask any questions once you have the property under your name and you're getting started using it the way you would like. You also get a complimentary vacation voucher valid for a 3-night hotel stay in one of over 50 global locations, and a hotel savings card, which has a $500 value that you can use to buy down hotel stays throughout the US. And these 2 bonuses are designed to help offset the cost of moving to a new location or visiting the property or even just a vacation to celebrate land ownership. You can also request a free 30-minute architectural consultation with me because I do have a background in architecture. So if you want some tips and tricks prior to getting started building, you can always request the consultation and we can go over them one-on-one. Every purchase does also come with a homesteading guide and building and zoning guide. And I will note that these aren't short, like 3-page PDFs. We did spend a couple months putting together these guides. They cover pretty much everything that, based on our experience buying 700 parcels of land, you should know if you either wanted to homestead or build. And they are both about 100 pages long, maybe a little under. And finally, you do get a post-closing checklist to make sure you get set up correctly and our neighbor lookup tutorial. So again, all 9 of these bonuses are free with every purchase. You get them when the deed is recorded. That's either upfront with a cash sale or at the end of the loan term with owner financing. All right. So if you are interested in this property, I do recommend doing 2 things as your next steps if you would like to get started. So the first would be hold the property on our website. And you can do that by clicking buy or hold. Now, the reason I say this is because in the past, before we had this hold feature, we would have buyers who would go to visit the property or spend a few days trying to call the county. And then they'd reach out to us maybe 3 or 4 days later and find out that the property was sold. So to prevent that, we do have our hold option. You can, for just $50, you can hold the property for 2 days, and you can hold for up to 8 days at a time. And when you hold the property, it takes it off market so that no one buys the property while you're visiting it or calling the county or doing whatever due diligence you need to do to become comfortable moving forward. And the hold fee is applied to the purchase price. In fact, it'd be applied to the purchase price regardless of which property you purchase, as long as you buy within 90 days. So to hold the property, again, all you have to do is click buy or hold and then click hold, and there's a quick, easy, automated checkout process. So that's the first step, hold the property. The second step is to book a call with me to go over questions, next steps, and if you are interested in owner financing terms. So call.gocap.com leads you directly to my calendar, and you can book a time with me to talk about the property. Right? So 2 steps, hold the property, then book a call with me. I also do want to note that if you are just starting out with your land search and you're not 100% certain what property you're interested in yet, you can book a free land strategy call on my calendar as well. These are free calls. On it, we'll spend 15 to 20 minutes going over your land buying goals and some of the things that I would suggest you look out for as you are taking a look at different properties in order to make sure that you get a property that really works for you. We can also talk about which properties in our inventory might make sense for you if you would like, but we don't have to. So you can also, if you want a free land strategy call, you can book that on my calendar as well. And if you are actively looking at multiple properties right now, I do also want to note that my partner and I are live every day at 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Here's our YouTube channel. And we do free property reviews. So if you're looking at some other parcels and you would like us to give you a second opinion on them for free, you can join our 5 p.m. Eastern live streams any day and just leave your property in the chat and we'll take a look at it for you. All right. Finally, the last thing I'll say is we do run a free land giveaway twice a year. It's just for fun to get the word out about our company. But the next one will be July 4th. On July 4th, we will give away the lowest value property in our inventory live on YouTube. So if you would like to participate, you can watch a quick 1-minute video on how the giveaway works and what you need to do to participate at freelandgiveaway.com, or you can just go to our YouTube homepage and go down to Freeland Giveaway. Right. So again, that's about it for now. Today, you can check out all our properties at land.gocap.com. And today we were looking at number 843 on Jay Court. If you are interested in this property, I do again recommend first holding it and then booking a call with me. But you can reach out. You can also email, text, call from our main line with any questions you may have about this or any other property. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.